So welcome, and I'm excited today because we are in the presence of greatness here with Dr. Mary Haas, good friend of mine, radical change coach, Ho'oponopono advanced practitioner, mentor, healer. Again, she's a great friend of mine, and it's a pleasure to have her here today because she is one of my mentors. And what we're going to discuss here today is pretty profound, I
Yes,
think. Yeah.
absolutely.
So we're going to talk about radical change and Ho'oponopono. Most people don't know what Ho'oponopono is, so just quickly, it is an ancient Hawaiian healing method that's been done in Hawaii for hundreds of years,
Yes,
right?
hundreds.
And it's been kind of kept a secret, I would imagine, right?
Well kept secret.
Well kept
Till
secret.
now.
Till now. And it's been brought here now to the States. Well, even though Hawaii's a state, it's been brought to the downstate, shall we say, by Dr. Hugh Len and Dr. Joe Vitale.
Yes.
Which Dr. Mary and I both are certified under Dr. Joe Vitale in Ho'oponopono. So basically what it is, it's 4 phrases. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and thank you. And what it does is it clears up all our junk, all our memory and data, just by saying those 4 phrases. That's how simple it is, yet it's very profound.
Powerful. Yeah.
Very
Simply
powerful.
and powerful.
So it's a beautiful method. It's a beautiful healing method. You actually heal yourself, and as you heal yourself, others begin to heal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get the effects of us healing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So we're here with Dr. Mary today, who teaches a coaching program, Radical Change Coaching, and she incorporates that with Ho'oponopono, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
So pleasure to have her here, and I thank you for coming, and I look forward to working with you now and in the future, but to get a message out
Thank
to
you.
everybody.
Well, thank you for
about
having
this.
me today.
Pleasure. Pleasure.
So, Craig was saying that Ho'oponopono is 4 simple statements, right? So once you say, I love you, I thank you, please forgive me, I'm sorry, you're actually Ho'oponoponoing. So easy. But we're going to today talk about what are some of the results and the radical change that you can get if you take our challenge today and just start Ho'oponoponoing, saying these 4 statements, and what kind of radical change is going to show up in your life. Just saying them with some trust and from the heart.
Right.
So if I could just share with your audience, I'm a licensed certified social worker. I've been a therapist for the last 30 years. I'm also a radical change coach. And I just had the privilege of working with Tony Robbins a long time ago and learning some really unique skills that I applied to my life. And somewhere along the road, I also was able to read Dr. Joe's book, which is called Zero Limits by Dr. Joe Vitale and Dr. Hugh Len. And it's really Dr. Hugh Len brought us Ho'oponopono from a woman named Morna. And then Dr. Joe met up with Dr. Hugh Len, and he was fascinated by his story of how he healed an entire ward of criminally insane patients at a Hawaiian institution. And just by saying these 4 statements.
Yeah, he never saw the patients, right?
He never met with them. I believe he didn't even prescribe the medication. He literally would go into his office. He would have a folder, folder of a client, and he would read about the client, and he would say these 4 statements until he felt a shift, that he didn't feel so judgmental or in pain about what he was reading about. And then somehow the Ho'oponopono healing transferred to the patient that they were actually healed.
Yeah, and they closed that ward.
3.5 years later, they closed the ward because they didn't have enough patients.
That's amazing.
What an amazing story.
Amazing.
So as a therapist, I asked myself an important question. I was like, if Dr. Hugh Len could heal an entire ward of criminally insane patients with this little 4-statement prayer, what could I do as a therapist with radical change? What kind of radical change could I bring to my clients just by teaching them the prayer and doing the prayer myself? I love you, I thank you, please forgive me, I'm sorry. And so that's what I did. I asked the question, and the next thing I knew, I created a seminar. It's a 3-hour seminar that we do in Long Island, and we taught them how to Ho'oponopono. We Ho'oponopono together, and we did a few other things. And I was blown away by the results that we got.
Could you give us some of those results?
Yeah,
Tell us about the
absolutely.
clients and the results that they had?
Sure.
Because this is fascinating.
Yeah, and this is where the radical change part comes
Right.
in, right? So I put out the question while Ho'oponoponoing, which is one of the messages for your audience today, right? We want you to begin to Ho'oponopono, but we also want you to attach a powerful personal question while you're Ho'oponoponoing. So what happened was the very next day after the seminar, I have this office set up where I step out of my office and I kind of peer around the wall and look in my waiting room. And there had been a woman who came to the seminar, that she was in physical pain for like 7 years. And, you know, she was wearing it emotionally. You could see it in her face. You could feel it when she talked. And everywhere she went, she never got enough relief. So she came to the seminar, and it was the next day. And as I peer around my office wall, I said to myself, what's her daughter doing here? Right? I was like, why would she send her daughter? So I took a second look, and I realized it was my client, but in her face, she was looking like 20 years younger because she got relief from the physical pain.
Amazing.
And because she was feeling better, she put on a really nice pair of jeans, she put on a nice blouse, and she looked like an entirely different person. So then, of course, she came into the office and we talked, and she really had this huge shift just from the 3-hour seminar focusing on Ho'oponopono.
Amazing. And did she, you said 7 years she had lived with that, right? And
Yeah.
she did acupuncture, everything. Right?
Yep,
She
she
tried
did a lot of
all
acupuncture, a
those
lot of
modalities.
different modalities she had tried. Yeah.
Amazing. And that's
So
a
then-
result you didn't even expect.
No, actually, I kind of just did it with openness. Like,
Right.
you know, openness with that question of, I wonder what kind of radical change we're getting.
Right.
Hey, if a psychiatrist could get that much healing, what kind of healing would we get? You know, and then my phone started to blow up that day, right? So later on in the day, there was another woman that called, and she said, you know, I just got to thank you for that seminar last night, because a couple of years ago, 6, 7 years ago, I made a decision in my life, and I regret making it, and it created this great gulf between God and I. There was all this distance. And she said, you know, I left your seminar last night and I decided I'm going to do this Ho'oponopono prayer, and I'm going to have a conversation with God because it's been too long. So she said, I had my first conversation with God in 7 years, and I feel like I went home. And I was like, from a 3-hour seminar? I mean, I go to seminars for 5 days sometimes, right? So it was amazing results. And then I just want to tell you one more story too that kind of has a powerful punch. So we had the seminar, and then after the seminar, we kicked into like this 6-week follow-up group. So there was a woman that came to the 6-week follow-up group, and she had chosen at the seminar the healing she wanted the most, more than anything else, was she wanted to have a healing with the relationship with her mom. So her and her mom had always had a rocky relationship, and they hadn't been talking for a couple of years. So she went home, she ho'oponoponoed, and within a few weeks of the seminar, she came back and she told us, you know, this Ho'oponopono stuff works. I've been Ho'oponoponoing for a few weeks, and the other day my mom called me.
Oh my God.
And, you know, we're all sitting on the edge of our seat, and she's like, my mom called me and we had the most amazing conversation for like an entire hour. And then week 2, they had another amazing conversation. Week 3, week 4, they're still talking. Lots of healing going on. You could just see the happiness in her face when she was sharing. And then she said, week 5, I didn't get a phone call from my mom. I got a phone call from my brother. And her mom had passed away.
Ugh.
But what she talked about was, oh my gosh, having come to the seminar, having Ho'oponopono for a few weeks, and having 4 hours of healing, reconciliation conversation with my mom allowed me to let her go
Yes.
in a whole different place.
She had to heal before the transition, which
Yeah.
is incredible because a lot of that doesn't happen. You know?
Yeah.
And look, that was a unexpected result.
Absolutely. You know, I couldn't have asked for those results,
Right.
right? But so then I started to realize, wow, this Ho'oponopono is so easy, so powerful, and how else can we get it to the masses of people? You know, how could we share this? These 4 statements, I love you, I thank you, please forgive me, I'm sorry. So easy. That's all you do is you say the statements with trust.
Right. Now, do you focus on a specific thing when you say those statements? Or, you know, like I let it run all day long
Right.
in my head.
Absolutely.
You know? And then sometimes I will focus on something more
Right.
specific. But I think it's important that we tell everybody that you can just let it run.
Yeah, sure. I honestly believe the best way to do it is just trust in the prayer, say the 4 statements, and you don't even have to drive in intention. So my belief is that when we say these 4 statements and we say them to God, what we're really doing is opening ourselves up to, you know, God, you're the creator, I'm just the created, and you have the power to heal everything that I don't. And we're kind of just trusting and saying, you heal what needs to be healed. So, and the other thing is you can say the phrases in any order. Right?
That's
I
beautiful.
don't know what order you use.
I have a specific order, but sometimes I flip it.
Uh-huh.
Just unbeknownst, you know.
Right.
So who is this for, and who would benefit from doing this?
So the beautiful part about this is anybody who's interested in healing, radical change, and what do we mean by radical change is if you want big changes in your life that are going to last, right? Life-lasting change in a big way. So anybody who needs healing, whether you need some healing about money, relationships, love, anybody who wants a business to expand. If you have, like, let's say you're a coach. A lot of people are starting coaching companies, but they have no clients. Right? So basically, everybody and anybody who's interested in healing and radical change.
It's amazing.
This is here to help.
Yeah. And actually, the seminar we were at, I bring up Harry Be Happy, right?
Yeah.
We went to Texas to get certified, and we had a monk, I believe he's a Tibetan monk, and his name's Harry. Harry Be Happy is his name.
And he is happy.
And he is happy. He's one of the happiest guys I've ever met. He actually got up and said, there is no one in this world, nobody on the face of this earth that will not benefit from doing these 4 phrases, which is profound to say, especially from a monk's point of view who chants all day long, you know.
Did you shared with me the other day, you have a story about someone who's an atheist, right?
Yes.
And even someone who was doubting that this prayer could help them with healing got a result.
He did, and he was shocked to the point where he texted me the next day after I did a healing on him. And again, I don't do the healing, God does the healing. I just was a vehicle. Texted me and said, no, this hurts so hard for me to say, but I can't believe I got a result, and thank you. And, you know, just, that's the beauty of it. You change one person, that's just one more person to Ho'oponopono, which is going to help the world.
And that's kind of what brought us together, right? So we just met as friends on this retreat that Dr. Joe Vitale had, and we just said, you know what? We want to bring Ho'oponopono to Long Island, right? As many people as possible. And most of my groups tend to be women. So Craig and I, we just said, you know what? We got to bring this to the men and the women together.
Yeah, because it's important for men. I mean, we have this, we don't need anything in our lives. We can handle it. And meanwhile, the men are hurting more than women sometimes.
One of the things I find in the groups that we teach is that, you know, women will come to the group and we'll teach them Ho'oponopono. And some people are skeptical, some people are all in. But even skeptical women will come to the group, they'll try it, and then when they have like a Ho'oponopono money story that works for them, which we're going to talk about some of them today, they go home and they tell their husbands, and their husbands all of a sudden are like, what are you doing again on Monday nights?
Now they're interested.
Yeah, all of a sudden now they're
oh, you made $5,000.
Yeah.
Now I'm interested. All right, so can you talk about Ho'oponopono and radical change?
Sure.
Both? Or?
Yeah, sure. So, you know, basically my personal story is that I found out about Ho'oponopono and I just committed to, like you said, Ho'oponoponoing as often as possible until it became automatic, right? So it's a true story. I like sci-fi. One day I'm watching a sci-fi movie and all of a sudden I'm like, I'm Ho'oponoponoing in the background, like the background of my mind. Kind of like we have front burners and back burners in our brain. And I've seen this sci-fi movie before, so all of a sudden I realized I'm Ho'oponoponoing automatically. So what we've discovered in my groups, in my coaching groups at Radical Change Coaching Academy, is that once you Ho'oponopono enough that it becomes automatic, you want to start to look for what we call positive unexpected twist, right?
Yeah. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, we did.
Because this is interesting.
Yeah, so positive unexpected twist would be like, let's say you're Ho'oponoponoing, and one day you want to raise or you're thinking about leaving your job, and as you're Ho'oponoponoing, your boss calls you in the office and he says, you know, we're going to give you a raise. We're going to give you, this is a true story. We're going to give you, this actually happened to one of my clients. We're going to give you a $6,000 raise. And of course you're like, oh, this is great. Maybe I'm not going to leave anymore, right? So you get a $6,000 raise, and then next thing you know, you're saying thank you and you think the conversation's over. And the boss says to you, but wait, that's not the best part. The best part is we've designed some incremental raises for you, right? So, I mean, how many people do you know that not only got a raise, but they got a promise of an incremental raise? You know, that just doesn't happen every day.
Not even
so we call that a positive unexpected twist. Now, the story is we have a young lady in the group, and actually her mom was Ho'oponoponoing for her at the time. She wasn't familiar with Ho'oponopono yet. And she had a job offer, so she was working part-time. And they wanted her full-time, but she couldn't commit because she was in a master's program for college. So when they asked her to do full-time, she said no. So a few weeks later, they came back to her and they said, listen, you're getting so much work done so fast. You're like 3 people.
Right.
So if you just give us 3 more hours to go from 17 hours to 20 hours, we're going to pay you full time and give you full time benefits. So it's positive, unexpected twist that blows you away.
You don't even expect. And you and I actually were just talking about this because you had an unexpected twist in your life, and you didn't even realize it was from Ho'oponoponoing, right?
Yes.
With your daughters. Could you explain
Yeah,
that?
sure. So, basically, I've been Ho'oponoponoing for about 4 years. And like I said, I created the seminar. The seminar led to a 6-week follow-up program. The 6-week follow-up program led to a 6-month coaching program, which you're in, right?
Yeah.
And that's called the Radical Change Coaching Academy. And we create radical change. And so recently I had the opportunity to bring the girls to Texas where we met. And I feel like, we went there as a family in good shape. But I feel like we received some type of proactive healing. So one of the things I also believe is the more you Ho'oponopono, the more you teach it to other people. It seems like the more blessings you get. So somehow we come home from this seminar and my kids expressed an interest in doing an additional seminar that I was doing in San Diego. So I said, yes, come along. And before I knew it, we're on this San Diego seminar about sales and success. And we had decided we want to take Radical Change Coaching Academy and turn it into a family business.
Nice.
Yeah, and it was like, just kind of came out of nowhere. So now we're in San Diego with about 400 people, and they're all referring to us to the $1 million company that's about to bust. And we're like, yeah, we'll do it. We'll go with it, right? So, but that's the thing. The beautiful thing about Ho'oponopono is it takes us away from memory towards inspiration, right? You were saying before how Ho'oponopono has a way of healing our past, healing our memories, and limiting beliefs.
Right.
And when we open up to that, we make room for inspiration,
Right.
things that we didn't even ask for.
And inspiration comes, and then we act on it, right? That's the key,
Yeah.
So that's great. And what's the most exciting thing about combining Ho'oponopono and the radical change?
So I'd like to share with you 2 more stories. So there's a woman that came to our group, and she kind of had a rough life, and she was in her 50s, and she really was unhappy. She was depressed, and if you asked her about life, she would say everything's a struggle. So she came to the group, and she really worked hard and Ho'oponoponoed at the same time. And I can honestly tell you, for her, if in fact when I give a seminar, she gets up on stage and speaks,
Nice.
and there's never a dry eye in the audience.
Oh, God.
So she talks about how everything has changed. She's a different person emotionally. She feels better. She feels healthier. She's ready for love. She's ready for relationships. She handles her children differently. So, and for me to see that transformation,
It's amazing.
and yeah, and it really is the power of Ho'oponopono, her willingness to keep at it, and then the coaching and holding her accountable. So I'm really excited that the more people we can do, I can do that for. I have a team of 10 Ho'oponopono coaches.
Right.
So the more that people we can do that for, the better.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Now, you also have a story about money, right? Would you share
Do
that?
you have
Because I
a
think this is...
Ho'oponopono money story?
Yeah.
So, Craig and I were at this event in Texas in March, was it? Yeah,
Yeah.
in March. And I was giving a talk for Dr. Joe Vitale. And the morning of my talk, I woke up and something said to me, "You're missing a slide in your presentation." And I just had a sense that I should add a slide that shows from my coaching group how many people have used Ho'oponopono to clear up some money situations, and how much money did I help these women attract by using Ho'oponopono healing. And I was shocked when I tallied it all up. It was $900,000. So like
$1 million
maybe 8
shift.
people, 8 people over a 2-year course. We collected, they gathered, somehow brought into their life to the tune of $900,000.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Good thing I
because-
realized that before the talk.
Great slide to add in there.
Yeah.
So can you kind of summarize and then give us what the 30-day challenge is for Ho'oponopono?
Sure. Can I tell you one of the details of the money
Please.
stories first?
Please give us a
So
specific...
just to give you an example, because this is, we're going to do some other interviews, and today I'm going to teach you the 30-day Ho'oponopono challenge, teach your audience. I'm going to show them where they need to get started, and if they want more, I'm going to promise to show them how to get more. But just to give you an example, how do 8 people gather $900,000, right? Because that sounds a little out there. So one of the things we teach is this 3-step Ho'oponopono express action plan. And step 1, we're going to teach you today, And these money stories came from the women when they applied step 2. So in step 2, we teach you how. I'll give you my own example. So I had a situation back at my home where I had some mold in my basement. So I called my insurance company and I said to them, come on, we got to get somebody out here. I got to get a construction guy in. I got to get this mold cleaned up. So they pretty much came and they said they rejected sending someone over to tell me how much would the insurance company reimburse me for. So I took the actual letter of rejection and I ho'oponoponoed with an eraser, and we're going to teach you how to all do this in the next interview.
Yeah.
But I did step 2 over the contract of my insurance paperwork, which was a rejection letter. And 4 days later, I got a phone call. They were finally willing to come out. They met with the construction guy, finished the job, and I got a check for $15,000. Right, which I was entitled to.
Right. But there's another unexpected twist.
Yeah,
too.
absolutely. So, and then we have another woman that this is an amazing story. So she's been in a lawsuit with her spouse for 6 years, and she was told this kind of lawsuit 99.9% people never win. But they were so upset they pushed through with the lawsuit. So 6 years, nothing's happened. She comes to the 6-month Radical Change coaching course. And about 4 weeks in, she starts ho'oponoponoing, tapping over the paperwork related to this lawsuit. And 14 days later, she comes in. She got a letter. They won the lawsuit. The 1%.
After 6 years.
But I mean, think of
less than 1%,
the
right?
timing of that,
Yeah.
right? So for 6 years, nothing happened.
Yeah.
And then she gets a letter of acceptance. And that lawsuit, they're actually going to decide on a number, is anywhere between $200,000 and $300,000 that's owed to them.
Wow.
Right?
Amazing.
But that's for next time.
Right.
Today, we're going to do the 30-day
Yeah.
Ho'oponopono
Let's
challenge.
go on that 30-day challenge, because this
Yeah.
is an amazing tool. You know.
And that's really where everyone has to start, right? So the thing is, hopefully you're going to take our 30-day Ho'oponopono challenge. So after hearing our interview today, we simply want you to go back home and say the 4 phrases. So you're going to say, I love you, I thank you, please forgive me, I'm sorry. It's best to say them out loud, but you can say them in any order, right? I think your order is different than mine.
Yeah, I say, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me,
Right.
thank you.
So any order works. You can say it quietly if you're at work. It still works. But we suggest at home sometimes you say it out loud. Now the challenge is you're going to find a calendar. You're going to mark down day 1. So let's say you start today. Today's day 1. You count out 30 days. And we want you to Ho'oponopono for 30 straight days without missing. Now the reason we want you to do it for 30 days is that's how we get Ho'oponopono to go to the back burner that we talked about, right? So if you miss a day, you have to start all over.
That's right.
So that's our 30-day Ho'oponopono challenge.
Love it. And I'm doing it right now. I've done it. I've passed the 30 days, and the results in my life are just amazing. I'm in a different place.
Yeah, I'll tell you a true story. Every time I teach a class for 6 months, I like to have integrity when I teach something. So if I ask people to do the 30-day Ho'oponopono challenge, like even today in the interview, I'll start a new challenge for myself. And every time I do a 30-day Ho'oponopono challenge, when I start a new class, I have 2 kids, Sam and Steph, their lives go on fire.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And there's this correlation between when I take a class and I do the challenge, my kids come running home with these amazing stories, right? So it's very powerful.
I love it. So where can we get some of this information? Do you have a website?
Well, I got a couple of things for you
Yeah,
today.
please.
I actually have, the first thing I have for you is you can download a free ebook.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I believe at the bottom of this video, you're going to see a link. It's a little long, so I'll mention it now, but just look for the link that says createchangenowforever.com/radical change, radical change new / So when you see that link, you can actually get a free ebook that will give you a sneak preview of the 3 steps, the 3 Ho'oponopono Express action steps that we teach our clients that are having amazing results in radical change. But if you're a serious player and you don't want to wait, you want to jump all in, which a lot, you're like that, right?
Jumped right in.
We have a 90-day coaching program, and you can have access to that by connecting with my assistant. So if you send an email to my assistant, Sam, at radicalchange.sam with 2 M's, SAMM, @gmail.com, and if you say in the subject line, ready for radical change now, she'll get in touch with you about that program. And I do want to mention that we have limited seating. Those classes fill up really quick. For those of you who are still thinking, well, let me find out a little bit more about this before I jump into a coaching program, we also offer a free strategy session. So you're going to reach out to Sam at the same email, but in the subject line, you're going to write the word apply. And we'll know that you're applying to qualify to see if you can have a free strategy session. And then you and I have some seminars coming up.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Yeah, so Craig and I are going to be bringing back to life the original 3-hour seminar. I haven't done that in about a year and a half.
Yeah, it's going to be
So
exciting.
we're going to try to get a lot of men and women interested in that 3-hour seminar, and we're going to pick some dates for that.
Yep. We'll let you know about those dates coming up.
Yeah.
And also, you want to share a little something about Dr. Joe Vitale? which is
Sure.
exciting.
Yeah, so I got the opportunity to invite Dr. Joe Vitale to come to Long Island. So he's made a commitment in August or September of this year to come and be a guest speaker at our next big Ho'oponopono event.
I can't wait.
So we don't have all the details for you that
Right.
day,
We will.
but if you keep in touch with us, we'll be sending that information out to you, or we'll be doing another interview and we'll have all the details.
Yeah, I love it. All right, we're challenging you to a 30-day, to start your 30-day Ho'oponopono
Yes.
challenge. I can't thank you enough for being here.
Well, thank you for having me.
Amazing to have you here and be in your presence, and just it's uplifting. And I really look forward to working with you and continue working with you and giving our audience more and more. So start your 30-day and send some results. If you get some results, we'd like to
Yeah,
hear about it.
in the
because
comments,
we
right?
get a lot
Yeah.
of really good feedback, so it'd be great to see it
Okay.
and hear from you. But
And
again,
we'll be back with more.
absolutely.
Yep.
And thank you.
All right. Thank you, Craig.